Welcome to Module 5 on Getting the Most Value from Your Pump. Modules 1 through 4 took Apio from frustration and uncertainty to a fully installed and operating solar irrigation system. This module focuses on what happens next, how to get the greatest value from that investment. Because the real goal is not simply to replace diesel with solar, but to use irrigation to improve productivity, increase income, and strengthen the farm over time. To understand the difference, let's compare Apio's experience with Joseph's after their first year of solar irrigation. After her first year using solar irrigation, Joseph's income is still about 40% higher than Apio's. The gap has narrowed significantly, but it remains. The two farmers have nearly the same pump, the same water source, and grow similar crops. The difference is no longer the technology. It comes down to three habits: when Joseph irrigates, how he irrigates, and what he chooses to grow. For a diesel pump, reducing operating hours directly reduces fuel costs. For a solar pump, there is no fuel cost per operating hour. Instead, saving water can allow the available pumping capacity to be used for additional suitable area, higher value crops, increased cropping intensity, or improved water productivity, subject to sustainable water availability. Let's see how Apio began applying the same habits that made Joseph successful, and how those changes improved her water use, crop performance, and farm income over the following year. 1 year after installing her solar irrigation system, Apio can already see the difference. It is February again, and she is harvesting tomatoes, her second crop of the dry season. The first harvest was sold in January at peak market prices. Now a second harvest is ready for sale in late February, something that was difficult before she had reliable irrigation. Over the past year, Apio discovered that when you irrigate can be just as important as how much you irrigate. At first, she irrigated at midday because that was when she had free time. Back then, she was using flood irrigation and running the pump for 8 hours a day. Because she irrigated during the hottest part of the day, nearly half of the water she applied was lost to evaporation. Then Joseph showed her a different approach. He irrigates at 5 in the morning using water stored in a tank. Instead of flood irrigation, he uses drip lines on his tomato beds, delivering water directly to the plant roots with less waste. Because less water is lost to evaporation and more reaches the crop, he only needs to run the pump for about 5 hours a day instead of 8. With the same solar pumping system, he is able to irrigate a larger area than Apio. Although Apio and Joseph used the same solar pump, their farming practices made the difference. Joseph earned 40% more income because he irrigated during cooler hours, used drip irrigation, and selected crops based on market demand. The technology was the same, but the way it was used led to very different results. So the pump delivers water. What you do with that water determines how much you earn. In the next section, you will learn how irrigating at the right time can reduce water losses, improve crop performance, and make better use of your solar pumping system. Timing matters. When irrigation takes place at midday, high temperatures can cause about 40 to 55% of the applied water to evaporate before it reaches the root zone, particularly under flood and surface irrigation. But when the same water is applied at 5 in the morning, losses may fall to just around 5 to 10%. Same water, same pump. Very different results. Now let's look at how water loss changes throughout the day. This graph shows that when you irrigate can be just as important as how much water you apply. As the day warms up, water loss increases. It is lowest in the early morning and late afternoon, rises throughout the day, and reaches its highest level around midday when temperatures are at their peak. This is where a storage tank becomes valuable. By storing water pumped during the day, farmers can irrigate during the cooler hours of the morning or evening when less water is lost to evaporation and more reaches the crop roots effectively. As a result, the same amount of water can be used more efficiently, helping farmers improve crop growth without increasing pumping costs. So how can farmers take advantage of this? First, fill the storage tank during peak pumping hours, typically between 9 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon when the solar pump operates at its highest output. Then, use the stored water for irrigation at 5 in the morning or later in the afternoon when temperatures are lower and evaporation losses are minimal. In this way, the storage tank separates pumping time from irrigation time. Farmers can pump water when solar energy is abundant and irrigate when water can be used most efficiently. This simple change in practice costs nothing, yet it can significantly increase the amount of pumped water that reaches crop roots and supports plant growth. So far, we have seen how irrigation timing affects water use. Now, let's examine how the choice of irrigation method can also make a significant difference. Even with the same pump and water source, drip and flood irrigation can produce very different results. Flood irrigation spreads water across the entire soil surface. However, a significant portion of that water is lost to evaporation, runoff, and deep percolation before it reaches the plant roots. In many cases, nearly half of the applied water is not used by the crop. In contrast, drip irrigation delivers water directly to the base of each plant through small emitters placed along the crop rows. Because water is applied precisely where it is needed, drip irrigation is highly efficient, allowing about 85 to 90% of the water to reach the root zone. For crops such as tomatoes, switching from flood irrigation to drip irrigation can reduce water requirements by 40 to 50%. With the same pump and water source, farmers may be able to irrigate a larger area or reduce pumping time significantly. This not only saves water, but also reduces wear and tear on the pump and motor. Drip irrigation requires higher upfront investment and may not be affordable for all smallholder farmers. Farmers can start with a suitable lower-cost irrigation method and progressively upgrade to drip or pressurized irrigation as financial capacity improves. The selected irrigation method should be affordable, operable, and maintainable for the farmer. Trade-offs of drip irrigation. In drip irrigation, additional investment is required for filtration, pressurized pipes, emitters, valves, or control equipment, and installation. However, the potential benefits are lower water use, improved water productivity, potential yield benefits, reduced labor in some systems, and better long-term returns. Drip irrigation kits are available in all 6 countries through agri-input dealers, irrigation suppliers, and NGO-supported distribution networks. A practical approach is to start by using drip irrigation on your highest value crop, often tomatoes or other vegetables. This allows you to gain experience with the system while maximizing the return on your investment. As you become more comfortable with operation and maintenance, you can gradually expand drip irrigation to other suitable crops. Now that we have explored efficient water use, let's look at another important factor: choosing crops that meet market demand during the dry season. Joseph's planning principle is simple. Before each season, he asks local market traders a straightforward question. Which crops are difficult to find in February? The answer helps him decide what to grow. The same principle can help farmers make better cropping decisions. Focus on crops that command premium prices during the dry season, when rain-fed farmers often have little or nothing to sell. At the same time, choose crops that do not require excessive amounts of water per kilogram of yield and that can be sold through markets you can reliably access. In other words, smart crop planning is about matching water availability, market demand, and market access. When these three factors align, farmers can maximize the value of every liter of water pumped. Careful crop planning during the dry season can significantly increase farm income. This calendar illustrates Joseph's planning approach. Instead of deciding what to plant first, he starts by understanding which crops are likely to be scarce during the dry season, when demand and prices are highest. Fast-growing crops, such as leafy greens, can be harvested and sold multiple times throughout the season. Tomatoes and peppers can be planted so that harvests coincide with peak price months, while onions can be stored and sold later when market conditions are more favorable. Joseph's principle is simple. Ask local traders which crops are difficult to find during the dry season. Then plan your planting schedule so that your harvest reaches the market when demand is highest. By aligning production with market opportunities, farmers can earn more from the same land, water, and pumping system. Start small and learn first. In the first year, grow crops you already know and manage them at your current scale. Use the season to understand how your irrigation system performs and how your crops respond. Then, in the second year, expand gradually to more crops or more land as your experience and confidence grow. Growing step by step reduces risk and helps ensure long-term success. So far, we have focused on using the system effectively. Now let's look at how proper maintenance can keep your solar irrigation system running efficiently and reliably for many years. A well-maintained solar pumping system is a long-term investment. With proper care, solar panels typically last 20 to 25 years. Controllers can operate for 8 to 12 years, and pump motors often last 5 to 10 years or more. Motor life depends on factors such as water quality and equipment quality. Sandy or saline water can increase wear on the pump, so it is important to consult your supplier about the most suitable pump and motor for local conditions. Once the initial investment has been recovered, the ongoing cost of operating a solar pump is largely limited to routine maintenance. This is typically much lower than the annual fuel and operating costs associated with diesel-powered irrigation. In other words, regular maintenance helps protect your investment and ensures reliable irrigation for many years to come. Solar irrigation is more than a pump. It is a long-term investment in farm productivity and income. The first few years focus on recovering the initial investment, but the years that follow bring strong financial returns with very low operating costs. With proper maintenance, solar panels can last for more than 20 years, providing reliable irrigation season after season. By combining good farming practices with regular system care, farmers can benefit from higher incomes, lower costs, and a more resilient farming future. Regular maintenance helps keep a solar irrigation system running efficiently and extends its lifespan. During the dry season, solar panels should be cleaned regularly to remove dust and dirt that can reduce energy production. In addition, A quick daily check of the controller and water flow can help identify potential issues before they become serious problems. Each month, inspect pipes for leaks and ensure that trees, buildings, or other objects are not casting shadows on the solar panels, as both can reduce system performance. Finally, before the start of every dry season, arrange for a qualified technician to conduct a complete system inspection. This helps ensure that the pump, controller, panels, and other components are ready for reliable operation throughout the season. These simple maintenance practices require little time, but can help protect your investment and keep the system performing effectively for many years. Throughout this module, we have explored the importance of irrigation timing, efficient water use, crop planning, and system maintenance. Now, let's see how these practices helped Apio increase her dry season income within a single year. After just 1 year, Apio's dry season income was roughly 3 times higher than it had been when she was relying on a diesel pump. Yet, she is still learning and improving. She continues to expand her drip irrigation system, refine her crop planning, and make better use of available water. Her journey also shows an important lesson. The solar pump alone did not transform her farm. The real change came from how she used the water, when she irrigated, what she planted, and how she managed her system. The pump made the opportunity possible. Good farming practices made it profitable. Apio's story is not unique. The same transformation is possible wherever sunlight is abundant and water is available beneath the ground. Across Uganda, Ghana, Senegal, Ethiopia, the Gambia, and Nigeria, farmers are discovering that the dry season offers opportunities that were once out of reach. When combined with good farming practices, solar irrigation can turn water into productivity, productivity into income, and income into lasting prosperity. The dry season is not your enemy. It may be the most profitable season you have yet to claim. These case studies show that the benefits of solar irrigation are not limited to one country or one type of farm. Across Uganda, Ghana, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Senegal, and the Gambia, farmers are using solar-powered irrigation to improve water access, grow more crops during the dry season, and increase farm incomes. While each story is unique, they all point to the same lesson. Reliable irrigation creates opportunities for higher productivity, greater resilience, and long-term livelihood improvement. Ready to test your knowledge? Take a moment to review the question and think through your answer. Remember the key lessons from this module and apply them to the scenario. Take your time. You've got this. Dear farmers, congratulations on completing all 5 modules of the Solar Water Pumping Farmer Training Program. You have learned what solar irrigation is, how to determine whether it is suitable for your farm, how to select the right system, how to use it efficiently, and how to maximize its benefits over the long term. As you have seen throughout this program, a solar pump does more than move water. It creates opportunities for better crop production, higher incomes, and greater resilience during the dry season. Remember, the investment is the pump. The return comes from how you use the water, every single day. We wish you success in your farming journey and hope that the knowledge you have gained will help you make the most of every drop of water and every ray of sunshine. Join us on this journey to learn, share, collaborate, and empower. Because knowledge powers the sun, and the sun powers our future.